The film begins with George, a covert government agent, pursuing a dangerous individual and his team along the perimeter of a building. As George and a small group of agents infiltrate the building, they come across Joseph, who is employed as a janitor there. George identifies himself as a government agent and instructs Joseph to come with them. Joseph quickly deduces their true purpose, throws his broom at them as a distraction, and makes a run for it. The agents trap him in a storage unit, but Joseph uses his extraordinary powers to leap through the ceiling and escape onto the roof. The agents give chase, cornering him on the rooftop. Using a specialized taser, they manage to subdue him, rendering him unconscious. The team administers a serum that neutralizes Joseph's abilities and transports him to a top-secret facility. There, George reports to Captain Williams, the head of the program. Williams explains that genetically enhanced humans like Joseph pose a significant threat and have caused fatalities, which motivated George to join the program. When George confronted Joseph, instead of responding, Joseph decided to run. Captain Williams later explains that enhanced individuals like Joseph are not only dangerous, but also highly unpredictable, advising George to exercise extreme caution when dealing with them. Williams also shares disturbing information about an enhanced human suspected of eliminating others of their kind. While the identity of the individual remains unclear, the patterns of power usage suggest it could be someone located in another part of the city. In a parallel storyline, Anna, another enhanced human, works in a car repair shop and is quietly planning her escape. With the help of her friend Danny, she is arranging for a forged identity document that will allow her to flee to China and avoid detection. The next day, Danny encounters Marco and his group, who had initially agreed to provide the forged document. However, they renege on the deal, demanding additional payment. Danny insists he cannot pay more, which leads to an altercation. Marco's group attempts to intimidate him, but Danny fights back, prompting Anna to step in. Using her abilities, she manages to disarm and incapacitate the group. In the chaos, a stray shot accidentally injures Danny, leaving him gravely wounded. Overwhelmed by the situation, Anna calls for help before taking the documents and leaving the area to ensure her own safety. George's team intercepts Anna's call and deduces that an enhanced individual was involved. Using a specialized tracking device, they trace her location. Meanwhile, Anna scrambles to gather supplies when a man approaches her, claiming he wants to help. Skeptical of his intentions, Anna uses her powers to push him away and flees. She steals a truck and begins driving, but George and Scott tail her on the highway. Realizing she's being followed, Anna changes course and drives into a farm field. George directs his team to close in on her position, monitoring her movements with a drone. Suddenly, a burst of energy disrupts all electronic devices, including the truck, leaving it immobilized. As George's men surround her, he commands Anna to exit the truck with her hands raised. Complying, Anna steps out while Scott searches the vehicle and discovers her passport. Confronting her, George demands to know why she was planning to go to China and accuses her of being responsible for Danny's death. Anna insists she was trying to help Danny and denies killing him, but George remains unconvinced. George's team attempts to neutralize Anna using a coordinated power surge from their tracking devices, creating a temporary field to contain her. Anna manages to break free and runs toward a small cabin for cover. George tracks her down and enters the cabin, where Anna ambushes him, briefly gaining the upper hand. However, George uses a flash grenade to disorient her and successfully subdues her with a taser. As George prepares a serum injection to suppress Anna's abilities, an enhanced individual named David appears unexpectedly and knocks George unconscious. David takes both Anna and George to a secluded location, restraining George. Anna recognizes David as someone involved in freeing other enhanced individuals from government custody. When George wakes up, David interrogates him, demanding the location of the other detained enhanced humans. George refuses to provide any information, leading David to consider drastic measures. Anna intervenes, persuading David to give her time to talk to George. David reluctantly agrees and steps away. In their conversation, Anna questions George's relentless pursuit of her. George accuses Anna of being highly dangerous, claiming he has read her file, which alleges that she has been involved in multiple incidents resulting in fatalities. Anna denies the accusations, asserting that there is more to the story than what George believes. Their tense dialogue sets the stage for deeper revelations about Anna's past and the true motives behind the government's actions. Anna explains to George that she was separated from her parents at the age of 4 and has no memory of them. She reveals that a government organization subjected her to experiments and trained her to become a weapon. Anna recounts how any refusal to follow orders resulted in severe punishment or threats to her life. She also shares a traumatic memory of her therapist, the only person who treated her with kindness, by calling her by her name instead of an assigned number. This act of humanizing her angered the organization's leaders, who executed the therapist in front of Anna as a warning. George listens skeptically, but begins to suspect that he hasn't been told the whole truth about the program. The next morning, George's team picks up a signal indicating an alpha-type enhanced individual nearby. Scott dismisses it as a glitch, believing alpha-types don't exist. However, moments later, they encounter David. The team attempts to subdue him, but David effortlessly defeats them. Scott manages to tase David and inject him with a serum designed to disable enhanced abilities, but it has no effect. David takes out everyone except Scott, who narrowly escapes and retreats to HQ. Meanwhile, George tries to convince Anna to release him, warning her that David is dangerous and could be the one responsible for targeting other enhanced individuals. Anna dismisses his claims, believing David has her best interests in mind. As they argue, Joseph suddenly appears wielding a strange red blinking device. He attacks Anna, and the two engage in a fierce battle. During the fight, George frees himself and injects Joseph with the disabling serum. Shocked, George realizes that Joseph, whom he believed had been eliminated after his capture, is still alive. Anna explains that the red blinking device is a reprogramming tool used to control enhanced individuals against their will, exposing yet another dark secret of the organization. Anna explains to George that the government has been using enhanced individuals as weapons, and reveals that much of what he was told about the program was a lie. Seeing Joseph alive and under control, George fully believes her and decides to help her escape. The two flee and manage to reach the main road, where they encounter the man who had previously tried to help Anna. He offers them his car and drives them to his home. Introducing himself as Eli, he also introduces Lo, another enhanced individual who lives with him. Eli reveals that he used to work as an analyst for the organization and initially believed it was a standard government operation. He only discovered the truth about their experiments after David attacked the facility, an event during which Lou saved his life. Eli explains that the organization had been developing a super serum and discovered a way to access another dimension with infinite energy and no entropy. To harness this energy, they use David as the source. Eli reveals that David is not human, but an interdimensional being composed of pure energy. Because David's dimension lacks entropy, he does not age or die. However, when the organization extracted some of his energy and injected it into humans, David lost the ability to return to his dimension. Desperate to regain his full power, David has been hunting enhanced individuals, reclaiming the energy within them, a process that kills them. Eli explains that once David regains all the energy, he will be able to reopen the gateway to his dimension and leave. Despite his efforts, Eli has been unable to find a way to stop David, who grows stronger with each enhanced individual he defeats. The only solution, Eli says, is to weaken David so he cannot regenerate, and then find a way to eliminate him. George, believing the weapons at headquarters might provide a solution, decides to return and warn his team about David's true nature. However, before he can leave, David arrives at Ellie's doorstep. Realizing the danger, Eli urges George and Anna to escape through the back while he and Lou stay behind to confront David. Eli and Lou attempt to hold David back, managing to restrain him for a few moments. However, David's overwhelming power proves too much, and he defeats them both. As George and Anna try to escape in a car, David intercepts them, tearing the car door off and throwing Anna aside. He then drops a heavy container on her, leaving her immobilized. David begins absorbing Anna's energy, but George intervenes, offering to lead him to the location where the other enhanced individuals are held if he spares Anna. David agrees, and the two drive toward the headquarters. Meanwhile, Anna, trapped under the container, channels all her remaining strength to free herself. Injured but determined, she begins making her way to the headquarters on foot. During the drive, George questions David about his motives. David reveals that remaining in this dimension is causing him immense suffering, as its particles are incompatible with his existence. He describes the universe as abhorrent and expresses pity for humans who must endure it. While David is speaking, George seizes an opportunity to distract him and pushes him out of the moving car. He speeds off toward HQ, determined to warn his team. Upon arriving, George is stopped by guards and detained. Brought before Captain Williams and Scott, he urgently explains David's plans and the danger posed by his growing strength. However, Williams is dismissive, revealing that the organization has reprogrammed several enhanced individuals to confront David. George tries to warn Williams that using enhanced individuals against David will only make him stronger as he absorbs their energy. Ignoring his pleas, Williams orders George to be locked in a cell, refusing to consider the consequences of his actions. Suddenly, an alarm blares throughout the headquarters. On the security feed, Williams and Scott see David systematically overpowering the guards. In desperation, Williams deploys the reprogrammed enhanced individuals to stop him, but as predicted, David easily defeats them and absorbs their powers, growing even stronger. He makes his way to the control room, where he immediately eliminates Williams. Turning to George, David ominously warns him that Anna will suffer because of his actions. At that moment, Anna appears behind David and defiantly challenges him. The two engage in a fierce battle, with David's newfound strength giving him the upper hand. Meanwhile, George escapes from his cell by shooting the lock and rushes to help Anna. David, now at his peak power, begins to overpower Anna and prepares to deliver a final blow. Acting quickly, George activates the emergency system, releasing a gas designed to neutralize all powers within the facility. The gas renders David powerless, leaving him vulnerable. Anna, regaining her strength, turns the tables and fights back, eventually bringing David to the ground. As she picks up a gun, David pleads for his life, begging her not to kill him. Anna hesitates, conflicted by his vulnerability. Sensing her hesitation, George takes the gun and makes the decisive choice, shooting David to ensure he cannot hurt anyone else. 4 months later, George and Anna meet again. Anna, now working as a mechanic, is living a simple and peaceful life. George hands her a file containing the names of other enhanced individuals, encouraging her to help them find a path to normalcy. In the closing scene, we see one of the enhanced individuals living an ordinary life. A knock at the door interrupts his routine. When he opens it, he is shocked to find David standing there, ominously stating, "You have something that belongs to me." The screen cuts to black, leaving the story on a suspenseful note.